welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We do apologize to you, our viewers, sponsors, and advertisers for the breaking continuity. We had a fault at the Montfortune Studios. Thankfully, technicians rectified it quickly. We're back on now, so we head back into the news now, 25 minutes after 6.
The morning news, first news of the day, is sponsored by Quartz.
As we reported earlier, 250 entrepreneurs in the OECS are currently undergoing the Courts Ready Cash Small Business Loans Broadening Horizons training and workshop series. The training, which commenced in September, will expose the entrepreneurs to resources, knowledge, and network that they require to succeed, and in so doing, create opportunities for business, community, and economic growth. According to brand manager Bobette Bolton, the reason for such an undertaking is in fulfillment of the company's corporate social responsibility. So initiatives focus on socially and economically impacting the communities in which it operates.
On Tuesday, November 15th, Courts Ready Cash launched the official commencement of its Small Business Loans Broadening Horizon training and workshop series that will empower approximately 250 entrepreneurs in the OECS. The workshop features virtual sessions with industry professionals who will share experiences and lessons on various topics. According to brand manager Bobette Bolton, the workshop is one of the group's key corporate social responsibility initiatives through building the capacity of the small business sector.
We are launching the Courts Ready Cash Small Business Loans Broadening Horizons training and workshop series. So it's basically a series where we encourage small business persons to get the education that they need, the information, basically to get the network and the visibility that they need to grow their business. So right now we have on display two of our participants in the program. We have Grasserin and we have Healthy Nuts, and basically that is what we offer: opportunities for persons to showcase their products, display their products, sell their products, and tell persons more about their products. Also, it's a 12-week program. It runs from September until January. Right, we started in September with registration, and then after registration we went right into classes. So the classes are completely online. We also have a webinar series that we do where we invite persons to come in and just join in the webinar.
Bolton shares the company's rationale for embarking on such an ambitious project.
As a part of our CSR program through Unicomo, Ready Cash Small Business Loan decided that we were going to embark on this program because we want to see the growth and the development of the small business sector in the OECS. The challenge was to do the program only in St. Lucia, but we decided that we are being given the resources to expand our wings and do it in the entire OECS. So we decided to go ahead and open registration to the entire OECS, and 250 small business owners across the OECS responded. And we were very excited that so many persons came on board, and what's more, we were very excited that we were able to facilitate through our facilitators.
In the end, entrepreneurs will have the opportunity to access resources and investment funding to achieving their mandate. According to Bolton, the end goal is to equip the next generation of entrepreneurs and business owners with the requisite tools to thrive in their respective industries.
At the end of the program, persons will be certified in entrepreneurship, and also they will be given the opportunity to present their products, present their business. They'll be given the opportunity to present their concept for us to invest as investors into their business. So we're really encouraging that, and we're really encouraging the growth and the development of the small business sector in the OECS.
Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
Thank you, Jasmine. Please stay with us. 29 minutes now before 7 o'clock. We have some breaking news on a homicide in the south of the island with exclusive footage which we'll share with you momentarily. Please again stay with us for this breaking news development on homicide number 61 recorded hours ago in the south of St. Lucia. Meanwhile, as St. Lucia records success with international travel, securing new and returning airlines, regional travel continues to be a concern for the island's tourism sector. Tourism Minister Dr. illegL, however, believes that the island is poised for a promising winter season in terms of international travel arrivals. Nonetheless, the hopes that there will be an improvement in regional travel next year.
Virgin Atlantic and Air Canada form part of the list of new and returning international airlines set to accommodate travel to the island of Saint Lucia. Virgin is operating the service to Saint Lucia's Euronora International Airport on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The route will operate through March 25, 2023. In November 2022, Air Canada increased its flight frequency to 4 weekly flights, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, until December 9th. Additional flights will be added to the schedule for the holiday season, with 5 weekly flights until December 18th, then increasing to 6 weekly flights until December 25th. With the additional non-stop flights from Air Canada, Saint Lucia will offer Canadians 20 non-stop routes from Toronto Pearson International Airport this fall and winter season. On Monday, Tourism Minister Dr. illegL spoke about the continued restoration of the tourism sector, particularly focusing on the successes recorded with international travel.
American Airlines will increase the flights in St. Lucia, especially out of Charlotte, and we're certainly looking forward to a bumper season. Virgin has started back flying 3 times a week out of Heathrow, and that will continue until the end of March. So yes, it's going to be a real exciting time for us, and we still are in discussions to bring in some more opportunities once we can finalize it. There is still the problem of airlines not having planes and not having crews, but they seem to be coming out of that, and hopefully they claim by next year they should be back on stream.
Despite the successes of international travel, Dr. illegL bemoaned the current state of regional travel. He lamented that the Caribbean is a major source market for St. Lucia, and in the absence of a stalwart regional airline, the island is recording relatively low figures of arrivals from the region as compared to that of 2019.
We've really suffered badly because of a lack of connectivity. Regional travel is important to St. Lucia. Some of the other islands it may not be as important, but for St. Lucia, regional travel is really important. In 2019, we had 83,000 regional arrivals in St. Lucia, and thus far to this year, we're barely touching 40. I can't give you the exact amount because I haven't seen the October figures yet, but we're not doing very well in terms of regional travel. The number of seats that were available regionally is virtually wiped out, so we are struggling. And there's not much St. Lucia can do about it except to offer support and help to any of the entities that can get their operations back onto that level.
Notwithstanding the challenges confronted, St. Lucia has recovered 80% of its pre-pandemic tourism numbers. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Nelson.
Good morning, 6:35 the time. We now have some breaking news. We can confirm this hour that St. Lucia has recorded yet another homicide. The victim, a male from the community of V4, was found by relatives following the sounds of gunshots which disturbed the evening's peace on Tuesday in the town of V4. He was found in his bed. He has not been identified up until this time, but we can confirm that he was shot multiple times in the head. Bloodstains mark the area which he took his final breath. Homicide number 61 reported now in the community of V4. The victim was found by relatives moments after gunshots disturbed the evening's peace on a Tuesday evening in the community of V4. We will have more on this developing story as it unfolds. Well, finally from us this hour, the 2019 Global Nutrition Report posits that St. Lucia is on course to meet two of the global nutrition targets. However, St. Lucia has shown limited progress towards achieving the diet-related non-communicable diseases (NCD) targets. In an attempt to educate the general public on these diseases as well as health and wellness, the St. Louis Community College has adopted the JUMP, or Just Us Moving program, designed by Dr. Kato Lawrenson. Dr. Lawrenson says the aim of such program is to simply encourage all age groups to practice healthy habits to ensure that they live a long and fulfilling life.
Non-communicable diseases have been the silent plague, claiming more lives than crime in St. Lucia. The poor health decisions made on a daily basis have left the island ranking high on global prevalence indexes for non-communicable diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and obesity. The need to practice safe and healthy diet and nutrition has become amplified in recent times. And as part of his commitment to helping his home island, Dr. Kato Lawrenson, professor at the University of Connecticut, have forged a partnership with the St. Louis Community College to include in its nursing program the JUMP, or Just Us Moving program. Launched earlier this year, nurses throughout the course of their studies will be exposed to lectures and activities from experts and professionals of the University of Connecticut on health, diet, and exercise, which they will in turn go out to share with the St. Lucian public. Dr. Lawrenson says he is pleased to collaborate with the college and shares what motivated him to establish such a program.
So the inspiration for it was about 15 years ago when I was in Hartford, Connecticut, and seeing people in the inner city who really didn't have opportunities to exercise, weren't eating properly. And so I created this JUMP program called Just Us Moving program to encourage healthy lifestyle and healthy eating. And it's worked. We've actually done studies that's demonstrated that people have borderline diabetes. If they take this program, many of them will actually not have diabetes afterwards. And so it's a really healthy lifestyle program. And so I decided to move this JUMP program. We had a memorandum of understanding between the University of Connecticut and Sir Arthur Lewis Community College to work together. And this is our first project together, where we're actually bringing this type of program in terms of healthy lifestyle, healthy eating, healthy exercise to St. Lucia. And we've been really thrilled that the nursing school here at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College is really taking this up and is now bringing this to the community.
With the nurses on board, Dr. Lawrenson explains how the program will be implemented to ensure that citizens benefit.
We're opening it up now to the public, and so it's going to be expanded. We just have JUMP 1, where we've done the training of the nurses, but now we hope that these nurses, as a part of what they do in their curriculum, will be going out to the community and spreading the word about healthy lifestyles, healthy eating, exercise, and really training people in terms of being able to do that, with hopefully creating a healthier St. Lucia.
Dean of the Department of Health, Wellness and Human Performance, Dr. Prisca Regis Andrew, shares how nurses enrolled with the college will be instrumental in the dissemination of information from the program.
The intention is that these students will go out into the community and actually share this information and try to motivate persons into healthy lifestyle, which includes both nutrition and activity.
Dr. Regis Andrew supports Dr. Lawrenson's notion that the wider public stands to gain a lot from the information that will be shared during the program's outreach activities.
This is going to benefit the general public because it will be about students engaging with the community and sharing that information. We have started engaging right here in our campus community, where we have Wellness Wednesdays. So every Wednesday, we have either an activity event or a sample of a healthy meal, whether it be a snack, breakfast, dinner, and or sharing of just health information, general health on various topics. So we, coming out of the JUMP project, we have launched Wellness Wednesdays. That is the sort of thing we will be taking out into the community. Because our students are from across St. Lucia, it means to say that all communities will have an opportunity of benefiting, because we will be taking this information into the community, into the homes, and hoping to impact persons that are struggling with those various chronic diseases.
The program will continue with each successive class of students with no defined end. Dr. Regis Andrew says the program is indeed a good one, and she believes that nurses and the community have much to learn from each other, and so it is the college's intention to keep the program running. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
Well, thanks, Jasmine. That's the news. Your first news of the day with Shannon Lebourne.
The Morning News, first news of the day, is sponsored by Quartz.
Ooh la la! See what's new at Quartz. We've got great deals on living and dining room sets, appliances, electronics, and smart devices, and more. Shop today with no cash using Quartz Ready Finance, 3 to 48-month payment plans available. Shop in-store or online at shopquartz.com. Come see what's new and take advantage of these great deals only at Quartz. Bringing value home. Conditions apply.
Thanks for waking up here. Sports is next. Let's kick off this hour with school sports results from the school's under-19 football tournament. Cyrus Simmons Secondary secured a comfortable win over Coram Secondary on Tuesday at the SAB in VG. Both teams created many goal-scoring opportunities, but in the end, Cyrus Simmons, they came up victorious. The final score in that match, Cyrus Simmons 2-0. In the second encounter of the day, Babonneau Secondary got the better of Cash Trees Comprehensive. Scores in that match, Babonneau Secondary 2, Cash Trees Comprehensive 0. The VG Sports Complex will come alive today with the finals of the Inter-Schools Netball Championships. But even before the finalists take the courts, the third place playoffs will be staged. Let's quickly take a look now at the matchups in the third place playoffs for today from 1 p.m. The St. Lucia Sports Academy will face up with Babonneau. That's from 11 a.m. Apologies. From 11 a.m. the St. Lucia Sports Academy will face up with Babonneau. Thank you, Don. And in the big finals, Micoud Secondary and Soufrière Comprehensive, they will clash, bringing large numbers of fans to the VG Sports Complex today, Wednesday. The finals and third place of the school's netball championships. Parents and of course special interests going out and support the young ladies. Who will it be? It gets off at just about 11 a.m. today. Schools basketball semi-finals also scheduled for today, Wednesday, the 16th of November, from about 1 p.m. The venue, the Bonsejour indoor facility. In the first semi-finals, Soufrière Comprehensive will face up against the Patricia D. James Secondary, and in semi-final number 2, also taking place today from about 2:30 this afternoon at the Bonsejour indoor facility, the Leon Hess Comprehensive will face the St. Mary's College. Parents and special interests are encouraged to support the young players. The St. Lucia Football Association Island Super Cup 2022 continued on Tuesday with 2 matches under the lights at the Deriso playing field. Match number 11 of the tournament, Babonneau defeated Labrie 2-0. The goal scorers in that match for Babonneau, number 6, Raheem Lionel, and he scored his goal in the 38th minute, and Sergio Geese doubled the scoreline for Babonneau in the 42nd minute. In the second encounter of the evening, Micoud edged Roseau in the final minute of added time. Rai Gasper opened the scoring for Micoud in the 19th minute of play. The team from Micoud held onto the lead going into the half. Bartaroso bounced back to find an equalizer early in the second period. That goal came from their number 10, Showin Elite, scoring in the 47th minute of play. Miku's number 18, however, that's Miku's number 8, Levi Altador. He broke the back of the Labour team with a goal in the final minute of stoppage time, the third minute of extra time. The Miku steals the win at the very end and took home all 3 points. St. Lucia has named a 23-man squad for the upcoming international friendlies against San Marino this Thursday and Sunday at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground. The national team includes 6 overseas players, and the full squad were in training yesterday at the SAB in VG. Let's take a quick look now at the final squad. You must go in on that for me, Dan, from the top. Let's take it the final squad against San Marino. The goalkeeper for that match, Vino Bartlett, he's home, originally from the district of Viewfort South, playing over in Jamaica, back home for those 2 friendlies. Darren Donai is also the second goalkeeper there from Northern United, and Anton Richard, 3 goalkeepers listed in the 23-man squad. Anton Richard from Denry, Kurt Frederick also on the team. Let's move quickly now to Alvinas Myers and Shania Evans. Melvin Doxley is also in the defensive back 4 there. Scroll quickly for me, Don, as we move past Melvin now, and Ed Fred is also in the defensive squad as well. Hakeem Harrow, Duncan Gopal, Kendall Clark is the final list in the defenders there. We move on quickly. Lester Joseph also on the squad. Jadal Augustine, Leos Henville, Cassius Joseph, Jason, Jason Similin, Elijah Joseph, and Rydell Stanislas. Aaron Richard also on the squad as well. Is there any more on the list, Don? As we move quickly down, Donovan Jabatis, Saviola Elva, Jamie Prosper, and Samuel Luizor rounds up that 23-man squad. Later on in the program, we will spotlight the national team with national coach Mr. Stern John. Finally, in sports, the OECS Swimming Championships boosts sports tourism over the weekend, concluded on Sunday at the Aquatic Center in Gros-Islet, with so Antigua and Barbuda win the tournament for the first time. The hosts country, St. Lucia, came in second, followed by Grenada in third place. The event proved an economic boost for the North, as hundreds of competitors, coaches, parents, and supporters sought accommodation, meals, and entertainment in the Gros-Islet, Rodney Bay area. The final results from the tournament: in first place, Antigua and Barbuda with 1,111 points. In second place is St. Lucia, 1,018 points. In third place, Grenada, 956.5 points. Fourth place went to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, registering 841 points. And in fifth place, St. Kitts and Nevis, 61 points. St. Martin round up the participants with 5.5 points.
A memorable experience for the little ones, as the sub-region top swimmers made a splash at the Rodney Heights Aquatic Center in St. Lucia for the 30th OECS Swimming Championship held on the weekend. The event has not only met the competitive watermark, but has also made a significant contribution to the island's hospitality sector.
Well, this is a great example of sports tourism. Almost 400 persons in St. Lucia, swimmers and family and relatives. So it means that the rental companies for vehicles are smiling right now. It means the hotels, these individuals are smiling. As a matter of fact, in my conversation with the president of the St. Lucia Aquatic Federation, Eddie Hazel, a few nights ago, they were scrambling to find additional Airbnbs for persons who are in St. Lucia for the swimming event. And so the benefits are there.
With limited air transport within the sub-region, airlift and accommodation for teams posed a serious challenge for the St. Lucia Aquatics Federation. As a major post-COVID event, the swimming championships not only generated high interest, but would inevitably come at a cost.
And in our discussions with the Ministry of Tourism, Saint Lucia Tourist Board, and all the stakeholders, they are now requesting from us a 2-year application to send to them if we have to host any games. Now we're still in the forefront of hosting Carifta, but we still have now we have to make the application to all the hotels, all the guest houses, all the Airbnbs 2 years in advance to actually book rooms, because it was a real eye opener and it was a real challenge for us to do so.
The atmosphere at the event, though competitive, proved exciting and fun for parents, coaches, and kids who were not camera shy, as they danced to music and cheered their teams.
I believe swimming, they have a culture of parental involvement, and I really want that emulated in other sports. And so you would see a bumper crowd at the Rodney Heights Aquatic Center featuring parents and family, relatives of the swimmers, and the support is tremendous.
Team Antigua and Barbuda eventually emerged as winners of the 30th OECS Swimming Championships and are set to host the event next year in the Twin Island nation. Marvin St. Louis, reporting from the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports.
With that, we come to the end of the morning sports. Stand by. Weather is next. Good morning. The winds are blowing from the east near 20 miles per hour, 31 kilometers per hour. The weather partly cloudy, becoming cloudy at times with some scattered showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Residents and motorists in areas prone to flooding and landslides, you are advised to be vigilant. Moisture and instability in the atmosphere over our region will continue to cause some cloudy periods with showers and possibly isolated thunderstorms, mainly over the southern half of the Eastern Caribbean region. Tonight, a weak surface trough is expected to cause some scattered showers and possibly isolated thunderstorms over the Lesser Antilles. Tomorrow, tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 5 days. A quick recap of that information: moisture and instability in the atmosphere over the region will continue to cause some cloudy periods with showers and possibly isolated thunderstorms, mainly over the southern half of the Eastern Caribbean region. Tonight, a weak surface trough is expected to cause some scattered showers and possibly isolated thunderstorms over the Lesser Antilles. Tomorrow, tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 5 days. That's the latest weather news from the Here and Now Meteorological Office in VA4 St. Lucia. There's lots more online, www.slumet.gov.lc, or you can follow the weather hotline 454-3452. Remember, we are still in the Atlantic hurricane season. Continue to remain prepared. Stay with us as we say good morning and thank you for waking up here. This is the morning show built just for you, where we get you up to speed and out the door with what's trending here in our beautiful country. Sadly, many in the south of the island, the community of Vieux Fort in particular, are waking up to news of another homicide in their backyards. We'll share the details if you haven't heard a little later. Please stay with us as we wish you and yours the very best this holiday season.
Ooh la la! See what's new at Courts. We've got great deals on living and dining room sets, appliances, electronics, and smart devices, and more. Shop today with no cash using Courts Ready Finance, 3 to 48-month payment plans available. Shop in-store or online at shopcourts.com. Come see what's new and take advantage of these great deals only at Courts, bringing value home. Conditions apply.
Get your clothes sparkling clean with whiter whites and brighter colors. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. Ultra concentrated formula gives more washes with brightening factors added to keep your clothes looking new. And with the added organic fabric softener, your clothes will be soft and fluffy. Joby antibacterial washing powder is also effective in stain removal for cleaner, brighter, softer clothes with the sweet scent of early spring morning. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. My family, my love, my Joby. Available at supermarkets island-wide. For orders, call 455-3076.
Mourning a loss? Hot 7 TV wants to help you celebrate the beautiful memory of your loved one with In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Whether it's a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or some memorable occasion, or the anniversary of the passing of the dearly departed, Hot 7 TV will create a moving video tribute of that special person, showing how much he or she meant to you. Treasured memories, unforgettable moments. Share them with the world and repeat the airing as often as you'd like. Help keep your loved one's memory alive forever in the minds and hearts of all who care. In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Contact us at telephone number 452-6040 or email us at inlovingmemory@caribbeanhottv.com.
The death is announced of Wenceslas Amab, also known as Winnie, from Laborie, who passed away at the St. Jude Hospital on Tuesday, November 8, 2022, at the age of 67 years. The funeral arrangements for the late Wenceslas Amab, also known as Winnie, will be announced in a subsequent broadcast. The body now lies at Lazarus Funeral Home, New Dock Road, Vieux Fort. May he rest in perfect peace. The death is announced of Thomas Seelys, better known as Ross, originally of Perot Vieux Fort, but resided at Vigier Vieux Fort. He passed away at the St. Jude Hospital on Monday, October 31st, 2022 at 5:30 a.m. He was 63 years old. The funeral service for the late Thomas Seelys, better known as Ross, will be held on Friday, December 30th, 2022 at the Vieux Fort SDA Church at 2 p.m. and then the body will be laid to rest at the Latuni Cemetery. The body now lies at Lazarus Funeral Home, New Dock Road, Vieux Fort. May he rest in eternal peace. The death is announced of Rose Robinson, also known as Afam or Mariana of Opicor Vieux Fort, who passed away at the St. Jude Hospital on Friday, November 11th, 2022, at the age of 78 years. The funeral arrangements for the late Rose Robinson, also known as Afam or Mariana, will be announced in a subsequent broadcast. The body now lies at Lazarus Funeral Home, New Dock Road, Vieux Fort. May she rest in perfect peace. It is with deep sadness that we announce the death of Raymond Linus Attill, also known as Master of Love of Delsa Chazelle. He passed away at the St. Jude's Hospital on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022 at approximately 5:10 a.m. He was 86 years old. The funeral service for the late Raymond Linus Attill, also known as Master of Love of Delsa Chazelle, will be held at Our Lady of Lourdes Roman Catholic Church, Chazelle, on Monday, November 21st, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. Thereafter, his body will be interred at the Chazelle Cemetery. Transportation will be available from the house in Delsa Chazelle to the funeral service. The body now lies in the professional care of Crick's Funeral Home, Rivière Dorée, Chazelle. May he rest in perfect peace. It is with heavy hearts that we announce the death of Florence Nelson Alexander, proprietor of Ivy Accounting and Tax Services, and also a former employee of the Inland Revenue Department and Customs and Excise Department. He was better known as Toton of Banan Latok. He passed away on Saturday, November 5, 2022, at the OKEU Hospital at the age of 58 years. Left to mourn are his sons Ravi and Derek Alexander, his daughters Zoya and Noya Alexander, and his life partner Yevgenia Jean-Baptiste, also known as Ivy. The funeral arrangements for the late Florence Nelson Alexander, better known as Toton of Banan Latok, will be announced in a subsequent broadcast. May he rest in peace. It is with deep sadness that we announce the death of Dalton Bertrand Dekai, better known as Captain or Shadow Fax, originally from Carrier-le-Clery, but resided in Rivière-Mita, Moshi. He passed away at the OKEU Hospital on Friday, November 11, 2022. He was 50 years old. He was employed with Carnival Sailings boat cruises at the time of his passing. The funeral arrangements for the late Dalton Bertrand Dekai will be announced in a subsequent broadcast. The body now lies at Lazarus Funeral Home, Vidbutei Castries. May he rest in peace. The management and staff of Hot FM Communications would like to extend our deepest condolences to the grieving families.
Get your clothes sparkling clean with whiter whites and brighter colors. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. Ultra concentrated formula gives more washes with brightening factors added to keep your clothes looking new. And with the added organic fabric softener, your clothes will be soft and fluffy. Joby antibacterial washing powder is also effective in stain removal for cleaner, brighter, softer clothes with the sweet scent of early spring morning. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. My family, my love, my Joby. Available at supermarkets island-wide. For orders, call 455-3076.
Ooh la la! See what's new at Courts. We've got great deals on living and dining room sets, appliances, electronics, and smart devices, and more. Shop today with no cash using Courts Ready Finance, 3 to 48-month payment plans available. Shop in-store or online at shopcourts.com. Come see what's new and take advantage of these great deals only at Courts. Bringing value home. Conditions apply.
A young man from Bagatelle is dead. Calls on the public to not stigmatize his fatal accident along the Bexar Highway leaves from dead. Shannon welcomes the scrutiny of its CI. One man is in police custody following the shooting death of the wife of a police officer.
Look out for the midday news with Daniela Edwin on Hot 7 TV.
Mourning a loss? Hot 7 TV wants to help you celebrate the beautiful memory of your loved one with In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Whether it's a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or some memorable occasion, or the anniversary of the passing of the dearly departed, Hot 7 TV will create a moving video tribute of that special person, showing how much he or she meant to you. Treasured memories, unforgettable moments. Share them with the world and repeat the airing as often as you'd like. Help keep your loved one's memory alive forever in the minds and hearts of all who care. In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Contact us at telephone number 452-6040 or email us at inlovingmemory@caribbeanhottv.com.
What's up, guys, and good morning. My name is O'Neal OJ Joseph, keyboard player for Morgan Heritage. and I'm asking you guys to check out Good Morning St. Lucia Vibes at Sunrise with Shannon Lebourne on weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Hot 7 TV. Check it out.
Thanks for staying with us. 7:07 now, the time in St. Lucia and across the Eastern Caribbean. Coming up in just a moment, a senior police officer will join us live on the broadcast, providing details as police have launched their investigation into homicide number 61, recorded last evening in the community of V4. A resident of the southern town was shot in the bed where he laid, multiple gunshot wounds to his head. Head of the Major Crimes Unit will join us momentarily for that. We're also in our festive programming. We're getting ready for Christmas, as you can well notice by now. And this morning we'll continue our Christmas programming with ninutus, who will be my very, very special guest on the platform. You can expect a performance from him as well. That and lots more this morning, midway through the work week. Some 2 more days after this one to go, but you've already reached thus far. Monday, Tuesday out the window. Welcome to Wednesday. What a wow. Again, it's Wednesday. Let's now bring you the word of the day, brought to you with the kind compliments of Joby Laundry Detergent, distributed in St. Lucia by Fruit Seafood Limited. Joby Antibacterial Washing Powder. My family, my love. My Joby. Sponsors of the word of the day, which comes unseen right on screen right now. The word is gosh. An adjective again. Today's word, gosh. Gosh means having or showing a lack of awareness about the proper way to behave. When describing a person or behavior, gosh can mean socially awkward or tactless. When describing an object such as a product with a vulgar image or slogan on it, it can mean crudely made or done. Today's word, once more, an adjective, gosh, means having or showing a lack of awareness about the proper way to behave. So use it now in a sentence. Some people view giving cash in lieu of a wrap present to be terribly gosh, but I like knowing that my friends and family will be able to pack out something they truly want. Pick out something they truly want. And that's for the festive season, huh, Don? Let's use that sentence one more time. Some people view giving cash in lieu of wrapped present to be terribly gosh, but I like knowing that my friends and family will be able to pick out something they truly want. Don is sending a signal there. So Don is sending a signal. This Christmas, don't give Don anything wrapped. He would think that's terribly gosh. He would prefer cash. I got you. I got you, Dan. The word for the day, gosh, an adjective, sponsored by Joby Antibacterial Washing Powder, distributed by Fruit Seafood Limited. My family, my love. My Joby.
Get your clothes sparkling clean with whiter whites and brighter colors. Use Joby Antibacterial Washing Powder. Ultra concentrated formula gives more washes with brightening factors added to keep your clothes looking new. And with the added organic fabric softener, your clothes will be soft and fluffy. Joby Antibacterial Washing Powder is also effective in stain removal for cleaner, brighter, softer clothes with the sweet scent of early spring morning. Use Joby Antibacterial Washing Powder. My family, my love, my Joby. Available at supermarkets island-wide. For orders, call 455-3076.
Thanks for staying with us, and thank you so very much for waking up here on the morning show built just for you. Let's now bring you that segment that we've put together to promote the greater financial literacy amongst our citizens. Monica, she's again standing by with today's financial tip.
And now for your financial tip. Pay yourself first, which means saving money for emergencies and for your future. This simple practice not only keeps you out of trouble financially, but it can also help you sleep better at night, even on the tightest budget. No matter how much you owe in loans or credit card debt, no matter how low your salary is, there are ways to put at least some of your money into an emergency fund every month. An added benefit is that if you get into the habit of soaking away money into savings automatically, then you will stop treating savings as optional and start treating it as a required monthly expense. Before long, you'll have more than just emergency money saved up. You will have retirement money, vacation money, or even money for a down payment on a home. This has been your financial tip.
Now the time we'll have another financial tip for you during tomorrow's program. Be sure to wake up early at 6 and stay with us up until 9 o'clock. We'll take a short commercial break. Stay with us, though. We continue our Christmas programming right here on the program, and in just a bit we'll share with you details. If you haven't heard, homicide number 61 recorded in the town of Vieux last evening. We will review that incident with some further insight, and we'll also open up the phone lines to you a bit later on, give you an opportunity to come in as we continue to encourage donations and support for citizens affected by the November 6th trough. But this morning, let's talk for a bit about government's response to that activity 2 Sundays ago. Good, sufficient, inadequate? You call us up and let us know. The morning show built just for you. Thank you for making us your choice. Happy holidays.
Always wanted a motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see courts have motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy, you know. I purchased 2 bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. This blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon. This is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.
Get your clothes sparkling clean with whiter whites and brighter colors. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. Ultra concentrated formula gives more washes with brightening factors added to keep your clothes looking new. And with the added organic fabric softener, your clothes will be soft and fluffy. Joby antibacterial washing powder is also effective in stain removal for cleaner, brighter, softer clothes with the sweet scent of early spring morning. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. My family, my love, my Joby. Available at supermarkets island-wide. For orders, call 455-3076.
A young man from Bagatelle is dead. He calls on the public to not stigmatize his fatal accidents along the Bexar Highway leaves Tremendous. Shannon welcomes the scrutiny of its CI. One man is in police custody following the shooting death of the wife of a police officer.
Look out for the midday news with Daniela Edwin on Hot 7 TV.
Mourning a loss? Hot 7 TV wants to help you celebrate the beautiful memory of your loved one with In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Whether it's a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or some memorable occasion, or the anniversary of the passing of the dearly departed, Hot 7 TV will create a moving video tribute of that special person. showing how much he or she meant to you. Treasured memories, unforgettable moments. Share them with the world and repeat the airing as often as you'd like. Help keep your loved one's memory alive forever in the minds and hearts of all who care. In loving memory, celebrating lives. Contact us at telephone number 452-6040 or email us at inlovingmemory@caribbeanhottv.com.
Hi folks, I travel quite a lot and would sometimes be out of the country for weeks at a time. The good news is that because of the internet and modern technology, I can always stay in touch with what's happening in St. Lucia. And when I do, my go-to site is Good Morning St. Lucia, Vibes at Sunrise with Shannon Lebourne. Up-to-date news, good discussion, interesting guests, and a great host. What more could anyone ask for? My name is Richard Peterkin, and I endorse this message.
Welcome back. What a wow. It's already Wednesday. Still with us, we will share with you in just a bit details of that homicide in View Fort. We are on the phone lines with investigators who are trying to ascertain the identity of the victim, who will confirm with you momentarily. But that incident happened in the town of View Fort last evening. Gun violence returning to the south, another busy period for the police. So we say good morning to the women and men of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Good morning. Continues to be a busy period for you. Those of you tuned in, we say thank you so much for tuning in. We'll share those details in just a bit. But let me share some exciting information for you. If you're getting ready like us for Christmas, November the 16th, you don't have much time left to do your Christmas shopping. Unicorn Accord St. Lucia Limited are good friends and sponsors of the show. Get this and every Wednesday until stocks last, you've put together a promotion, Trade in Wednesdays. I could only say wow. Out with the old and in with the new. So you can drag, pull or push, or you can simply use your mobile phone, your Flow handset, and grab a photo of your old dining living room or your old bedroom furniture. Just take a photo. You pull up at Courts, any Courts outlet on a Wednesday, just like today. You show one of the pleasant and cool staff that photo, and you immediately qualify for an on-the-spot discount, 30% off of your new furniture. That is on old bedroom, dining, living room, and a dining room, living and dining room pieces as well. So just take a photo. You don't have to bring it down. Don't bring the old furniture down. Just take a photo. You visit the Courts outlet, immediately 30% off on your new purchase. No cash. No problem with Courts Ready Finance. You pay nothing down on your first payment. Isn't due until next year. So hurry, because this deal won't last. It's already going fast. This and every Wednesday until stocks last. You get the picture by now. Courts bringing value home for this festive season. Excellent. That's fine with me, Don. Thank you so much. Let's now update you. If you haven't heard, 21 minutes now after 7 o'clock, residents in View Fort, many of them are waking up this morning to news of another homicide. We could put the the image, and we do warn that although we would have blurred the imagery somewhat, you may find certain elements of it a bit graphic. We do warn in advance. So the victim, a resident of View Fort, he was in his bed when he was pounced on by a gunman or gunmen who police are now in search of. He was shot multiple times in the head. His body was discovered by relatives and friends. Bloodstains marked the spot where he took his last breath. Of course, police investigations have been opened into this latest incident, and police are this morning appealing to residents of View Fort and citizens of St. Lucia who may have information about this latest homicide to contact the Major Crimes Unit or the V4 police station. Information will be held to strictest confidentiality. Dan, are you able to prepare the photo of the victim? All right, Dan just needs a few seconds, he says. We will show you in just a bit the unfortunate victim of that shooting incident. What we thought earlier, and that was the vibe that we were getting, that things had simmered down in View Fort. There was some normalcy returning to the town. There you go. Another homicide. This one making it 61. Not a cool and an easy period for any member of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, particularly the new police commissioner. In the city, in the main, over the past week or so, the police have beefed up their presence in and around numerous communities, and thank you for that. But as they have highlighted on many occasions, they can't be everywhere. So where they can concentrate their efforts on the city, because there's been an upsurge of robberies and criminal activities in the city, bam, View Fort, again, criminal activities resurfacing in the southern town of View Fort. So you get the picture that the police have been painting. They can't realistically be everywhere. My technicians tell me we can now share you the image of the victim, who, just hold on for me, Don. Just hold on for me. I think I place a hold on that for now. Suffice to say, the family, certain family members of the individual may not have been notified of his demise at this time, so it may be the responsible thing to just withhold the image just for now. I shared with Sherry-Ann, our news editor. We continue to await the Major Crimes Unit. The superintendent is on the phone with us as we speak, so we continue to await some confirmed details from him. I think it would be the responsible thing to do and allow. It's very early in the morning still, so perhaps the family would not have been notified that the loved one would have found this demise. I don't think it would be the best for them to be notified via live television. So we hold the image for now, but we can confirm homicide number 61 recorded in View Fort. Any idea, Dan, the most homicides recorded in St. Lucia to date? You don't know? I'm unsure that many St. Lucians do. The highest number of homicides recorded on our St. Lucia, 238 square miles, 74 homicides. We'll give you the exact year. We're at 61 now. The police have made significant breakthroughs in recent weeks. Absolutely. 2021 was the year. 74 was the number. We're at 61 now. Thanks to that quick research down on the year. But 74 was the highest number. We're 13 shy of that. We don't want to get close to that, not at all. But that's the reality. Every week or so, we wake up to another one of these reported incidents. Grief for another family. Another young man gunned down. It looked to be an ambush targeted style killing last evening. Residents of Vieux Fort hearing significant explosions, after which they found the body of the victim. Multiple gunshot wounds to the face area. As the police await a lead and continue their investigations, many residents of Vieux Fort are looking for some sort of leadership and some direction, some condemnation, some comment from the Member of Parliament for the area, former Prime Minister, whom is well experienced in dealing with matters of this nature. He would have on numerous occasions held responsibility for overall national security matters. So the information that we're getting, the residents, they really want to hear from the Member of Parliament. What are some of the proposals on the table, and what are some of his engagements like with the warring factions? Because this perhaps provides proof and reason why event organizers like the recent sports tournament would pull off from hosting in the events in the south, in Vieux Fort in particular. And when that decision was made, the Member of Parliament was very critical of the event organizers and the event for not coming to Vieux Fort. But when you see incidents like this, you saw the graphic footage done of how this young man was killed. It makes sense why these people would not have the events in Vieux Fort. It's very, very unfortunate. A number of Vieux Fortians are living scared, and they want some sort of direction. So we continue our efforts to reach out to the good doc. As we know, a number of his residents are doing the very same. Police are investigating, so if you live in the town of Vieux Fort, you have information. Your information will be held with the strictest confidentiality. You are asked to share information on this and other crimes in your community with the Ross Initial Police Force via the Major Crimes Unit or the Vieux Fort Police Station. Homicide number 61, topping the news headlines this morning. 7:30 the time in St. Lucia and across the Eastern Caribbean.
Ooh la la! See what's new at Courts. We've got great deals on living and dining room sets, appliances, electronics, and smart devices, and more. Shop today with no cash using Courts Ready Finance, 3 to 48-month payment plans available. Shop in-store or online at shopcourts.com. Come see what's new and take advantage of these great deals. Only at Courts. Bringing value home. Conditions apply.
Mourning a loss? Hot 7 TV wants to help you celebrate the beautiful memory of your loved one with In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Whether it's a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or some memorable occasion, or the anniversary of the passing of the dearly departed, Hot 7 TV will create a moving video tribute of that special person, showing how much he or she meant to you. Treasured memories, unforgettable moments. Share them with the world and repeat the airing as often as you'd like. Help keep your loved one's memory alive forever in the minds and hearts of all who care. In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Contact us at telephone number 452-6040 or email us at inlovingmemory@caribbeanhottv.com.
A young man from Bagatelle is dead. Calls on the public to not stigmatize his fatal accidents along the Bexar Highway leaves tremendous. Shannon Lebourne welcomes the scrutiny of its CI. One man is in police custody following the shooting death of the wife of a police officer.
Look out. for the midday news with Daniela Edwin on Hot 7 TV.
Get your clothes sparkling clean with whiter whites and brighter colors. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. Ultra concentrated formula gives more washes with brightening factors added to keep your clothes looking new. And with the added organic fabric softener, your clothes will be soft and fluffy. Joby antibacterial washing powder is also effective in stain removal for cleaner, brighter, softer clothes with the sweet scent of early spring morning. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. My family, my love, my Joby. Available at supermarkets island-wide. For orders, call 455-3076.
We ready for the road. Yo, St. Lucia, it's your boy Pablo saying a wonderful good morning to you wherever you are. And don't forget, every weekday on Hot 7 from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. something called Vibes at Sunrise with your boy Shannon Lebourne. Tune in to keep informed on the latest news and everything going around in the country. You don't know the vibes. Pablo in the building.
Welcome back on this Wednesday, halfway through the work week, November the 16th, and we're getting all ready for Christmas here on the program. On this platform, as part of our Christmas program, and like we started off on Monday with Emma and Henry, will feature some musical performances as well, some of our traditional Christmas songs, and we'll have some very special guests who will perform for you some of their favorite Christmas classics as well. We'll also have some giveaways coming up right here on the platform. It's the season to be merry, so you've supported us. We give you back some love with the support of our fantastic sponsors right here on Good Morning St. Lucia. And we'll also have some storytelling as well. Exciting one should come up next week. Hi to Don and all of our storytellers and writers out there will feature some traditional Christmas stories as well, and some non-traditional. It's going to be real exciting and fantastic. Continue to celebrate the season and warm up despite all what's happening. I know it's not the coolest of vibes, according to our good friend Pablo, who was in the promo earlier. We know everything that's happening around the country is not all good vibes right now, but it's Christmas, so some way, somehow, we have to try to be merry and share some love, remember somebody special, and have a good old time. We're here to get you ready for what lies ahead. Our phone lines, let's activate the phone lines now, Don. 4500-777, 4500-777, and the WhatsApp line, we'll activate it now as well, 584-0600, 584-0600, 584-0600. Both of these lines powered by St. Lucia's #1 Flow. We're on the go this morning with Flow, and we open up the platforms now for you to connect with us. Stock crime, the homicide in Vieux Fort. How concerned are you? We know many residents are concerned. The business community is concerned as well. My co-producer, now is perhaps a good time to go back to Mr. Dyer, who continues to give us a wealth of support. The business interests down there, they're concerned not just in Vieux Fort, so we don't want to single out any community. Across the island, Chamber of Commerce are monitoring the situation, and they share concern. Many businesses are being victimized by armed robbers, and the business community, they're looking for some guidance and they're looking for some answers as well. So to our private citizens. More details emerging from that scene at George Shine Drive in Viewfort. George Shine Drive in Viewfort. We'll share that information with you in just a bit. But let's now discussing over the next 30 minutes or so two matters in the main: the crime situation and the issue of climate change, our response to the November 6 weather system which devastated the north. The figures are now being tabulated. Millions in damages, as we first reported 2 Mondays ago, are now being confirmed by government officials. The Prime Minister of Saint Lucia, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, has been trying to access a loan from the Caribbean Development Bank, a rapid response facility, is it, to the tune of $5 million US, having some concern on his part with the manner in which the process, according to him, is taking way too much time. The Prime Minister chided the Caribbean Development Bank this morning. We now go beyond the headlines.
The floods are going to be coming again, and they may be worse than what happened on Sunday. That is the reality that we face.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre on Tuesday issued a scathing warning that climate change is in fact real, emphasizing that the island needs to improve its mitigation and adaptation measures. However, he highlighted that in the interim, the state needs to acquire the requisite financing to aid recovery efforts currently underway. Acting Director of NEMO, Maria Maydad, disclosed that preliminary assessments indicate that over $1 million in damages were incurred due to the upper-level trough system. That figure is expected to triple by the conclusion of the more comprehensive reports.
So far, based on the assessments that we have made as of 12 November, $1,813.45 in damages. Again, that's initial. By the end of probably next week, we will have a better picture of the damages. And note again, I'm saying damages and not recovery costs, because we know there's inflation and so on. So that would probably triple in terms of recovering. The education sector, we had one school that suffered major damage, and that is the Dame Paulette Louise School. The damage is estimated at $780. This also affected the students, because you had students on the 780,000, my apology. The infrastructure sector, we looked at initial again damages, $854,180.
While lamenting over the undesirable conditions that households are to endure while the island recovers, Prime Minister Pierre urged the Central Development Bank to hasten the finalization of a US $5 million loan that will be allocated to fund relief measures.
We have applied for a loan from the Caribbean Development Bank of $5 million US, which we hope we will get. And there is also a grant of $200,000 US. The grant you have to apply for that grant. There were some issues whether it was a level 1 or level 2. I think these issues have been rectified, so we should be able to get these funds in as soon as possible. But again, we have to deal with the bureaucracy of the bank and all the documents and all that. And I always say, and I make no bones about it, why is he getting all that paperwork when people are suffering? We have to do all that paperwork and people are suffering. I think that our technocrats must understand that while they are asking for all these papers and people, real people are suffering.
The government indicated that plans are afoot to secure a grant for the flood-hit Dame Paulette Louise Primary School to get students back to school. Prime Minister Pierre also spoke of plans to access a grant to facilitate the replacement of household appliances damaged or lost during the flood. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Nelson.
Thanks for that, I'm Kareem, and we use that report and step into Beyond the Headlines. Now the figures continue to be tabulated, and we can expect those figures to increase as the various assessments, the Dana report and the Dollar report are assessed, and the various reports continue to come in and are compiled. We can expect those figures to increase. Let's take a closer look now at some of the numbers down from that press conference provided by the Office of the Prime Minister, where they provided number of updates. We can start off right here. Approximately 157 millimeters or 6.1 inches of rainfall was recorded in the Rodney Bay Grosley area. 104 millimeters or just about 4 inches of rainfall was recorded in Forestier Castries. What was the impact? Flooding, in fact, flash flooding, landslides, and land slippage associated. That was the impact. Extensive damage to public infrastructure as well as private property as well. That included homes, businesses, and numerous communities from Forestier in Castries to Bossejou in Grosley. Numerous communities were affected. The damage assessment and analysis report has been commissioned by NEMO, and as of the 14th of this month, that Dana report indicated that approximately 300 households have been affected by the trough. Of those 300 households, we can expect the number to increase, but the occupants of those households, they are saying and reporting that they lost 80 to 90% of general household items. Preliminary loss and damage estimates that the residential properties affected by the November 6th trough, the figure now stands at 1.8 million. That's just residential damage, preliminary 1.8 million in loss and damage to residential property. The Ministry of Infrastructure has also done its assessment of the impact that infrastructure suffered as a result of the trough system, and the damage to public infrastructure related to the passage of that system on Sunday the 6th of November has been estimated at $854,180, just about 150 odd thousand shy of $1 million. So just about $1 million in infrastructure losses, damages now being accounted for by the relevant agencies. A total of 8 schools were impacted by the bad weather. In the main, 2 schools suffered the Corin Secondary, but the one which took the brunt of the impact is the Dame Paulette, which is situated in a flood-prone area. So Dame Paulette was severely compromised as a result of the flood damage, and we're now learning that approximately $2.4 million is now required to undertake reconstruction work to restore the school plant. Damage and loss assessment, that dollar report that we spoke to earlier, has also been conducted by the Ministry of Agriculture. The intention there is to examine the impact of the system on the agriculture, fisheries, and forestry subsector. To date, the loss and damage costing in the agricultural sector, 1 and 2, that's in the north of the island, is estimated at again $1.2 million. a loss and damage assessment on the commercial sector. The affected zones are continuing and will be reported subsequently, but not including the projected losses suffered by the affected businesses. Preliminary cost estimates at present, those costs will exceed $6.2 million. We could hold on right there. So do the math, St. Lucia. As we indicated, just from the onset, our surface and general citizen perspective, the Monday, the day after, we reported here that the damages would exceed millions. Just from what we saw, you had landslides, you had damaged culverts and bridges, that's infrastructure. You had the Dame Pool at Louise Primary School suffering setbacks, significant impact there. Other institutions as well. Private property, the commercial establishment. So from the onset, we identified millions. Now, government technocrats are putting the confirmed figures together. In the commercial sector, preliminary 6.2 million for the Dame Pool at Louise. We're talking 2.3 million in infrastructure, nearly $1 million in agriculture, 1.2 million. When you do the maths and you add it up, that exceeds 10 million Eastern Caribbean dollars easy. The Prime Minister is having a challenge with the processing of a rapid response facility with the Caribbean Development Bank, the CDB. But Prime Minister Pierre knows all too well the processes involved in the disbursement of those loans. He's not a newcomer. He's been around for quite some time, and it happens not just with the disbursement of loans. It happens with perhaps every single regional institution and the service they deliver to citizens of this region. There is a slow drawdown in these services. So the Prime Minister knows fair to well, but expressing his dissatisfaction with the slow pace and asking the Caribbean Development Bank to speed up the process somewhat. The Prime Minister remains hopeful that his government will cash in on that loan, rapid response facility. There are other avenues and other facilities that they are exploring as well, but that is the main one for now. NEMO and us here, we support it entirely, continues to appeal to able citizens. Not everybody can, but those citizens who are able to reach out and to make donations, make contributions to citizens who continue to suffer. We shared the figures. Some people in Corinth, Progranme, even in Mark, in Bexar and other communities who were hit, they're reporting that they lost 80 to 90% of all household supplies. So you in your domain just now, you have risen to a new sunrise today, and just go figure tomorrow. You look around your house and try to picture tomorrow waking up with 80 to 90% of what you now have no longer available to you. That is the current day reality for many citizens in the north of the island. So we continue to support the calls by NEMO for citizens to contribute and donate. Citizens who are able to, as small as it is, you know it will go a long way. Help out a citizen in need. It's enough this time around. You never know when it will be another community who will then need support. So if you are able to, please continue to donate. And we say thank you, job well done to the many citizens, institutions, and friendly governments who continue to donate. Government having tight fiscal constraints apparently, but the Prime Minister and his cabinet trying to unlock some doors to financing as citizens wait. People are now requesting immediate assistance. You know how these things go in in the aftermath of a disaster, people want real, tangible assistance on the now. So, whereas the Prime Minister continues to attempt to unlock international, regional doors to funding, many citizens are looking for some sort of assistance. He has here initiated a $200,000 budget for relief as well, 200,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars. The Taiwanese, they've contributed about 100,000 US to our efforts as well, and we say thank you to our good friends from the East, the government and people of Taiwan. The Member of Parliament for Grosley, Honorable Kenson Kazimi, he's having his own challenges in crafting a response to provide assistance to affected residents in the district of Grosley.
The recovery initiatives came on Tuesday during a press brief on relief efforts for the flood victims called by the Office of the Prime Minister. There, Kenson Casimir highlighted the urgency of the situation, noting that the measures will allow residents to become more proactive in dealing with such disasters. Among the initiatives was the establishment of a more robust community disaster response plan that includes recruitment of individuals who will be responsible for awareness and alerting residents in cases of disaster. The plan also includes the setup of a database of resource contacts who can be called upon to assist in cases of emergency.
Community disaster response teams have been in existence and trained by NEMO in times past. I think it is important that persons in those flood-prone and vulnerable areas be equipped with training in first aid, in the initial response, and I think going forward, this will pay huge dividends when these disasters occur. 2, establishment of a database of persons in those disaster areas to provide weather news blasts as often as possible. We know that in 2022 and beyond, a number of persons have lost interest in watching news, and so it's important for me as the MP to have a database of contact information to provide those updates as soon as they become available.
Casimir also stressed that efforts are afoot to engage the Insurance Council in an attempt to initiate an education drive for home coverage, as well as a possible reduction in the premium rates for flood coverage.
I think what we saw in areas such as Asu Canal, Riviera, Norshi, juxtapose that to my interventions and visit to places like Bonte with persons who had insurance. The feeling within those families were chalk and cheese. Those who had insurance were smiling, those without insurance were crying. And so education and perhaps more conversation needs to be undertaken.
Casimir also committed to intensify lobbying for infrastructural interventions from government for people in flood-prone areas. This would include the installation of gabion baskets and the silting of rivers close to settlements. While Casimir stressed his commitment to the resilience drive in the community, he called for an equal level of personal responsibility if it is to be successful.
My team has put together a Grosley Friday night telephone event to bring in as much resources from St. Lucia, the region, and of course the world, to aid in the recovery efforts for those in need. As the Prime Minister said, the interventions, the paperwork, the red tape is something my people cannot continue to bear patience with. And so as parliamentary rep, whatever we can do as a community to bring in corporate St. Lucia will definitely be undertaken.
Meanwhile, the minister took the opportunity to publicly express gratitude to his cabinet colleagues, the Red Cross and other volunteers who assisted residents in the immediate aftermath of the storm.
Their support their support. Their support was timely. I also want to thank BMO for their strategic interventions throughout the constituency. Volunteer St. Lucia who helped in the cleanup, corporate St. Lucia who have shown their support. Last school, special mention to Zilter George Leslie, who ensured that water was restored as soon as the requests were made. I also want to thank the Red Cross and the Codeco. Thank you so much.
Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Nelson.
Thanks so much, Kareem, and thank you for staying with us. So the Member of Parliament for Grosley, Kenson Kazimi, being brought almost to tears there, in reporting on how his constituency suffered, and then saying thanks to the many partners, many of whom which we have and continue to salute for what they've done. But you could well imagine the residents of those 300 plus households themselves on that Sunday evening and even the morning after having to share the similar tears. Many of them are still crying and awaiting some sort of relief, some sort of support. So the parliamentary rep sympathizing, perhaps being drawn to exactly what the circumstances that the constituents feel now, being brought to tears. It's going to be a long road ahead as people continue to search for relief post the November 6th trough system. Again, if you are able to make a donation or make a contribution, we encourage you to do so. Interesting discussion online on the whole issue of insurance. Nigel T. Tuse, or T. Nigel Tuse, my apologies, was our scheduled guest this morning. Due to some legal matters, she's unavailable today. She will make her presence on Friday, God willing, to be a part of the platform. I just thought I stuck it in. But there's an interesting discussion online on insurance. Some contributors intimating that perhaps the majority of those 300 households should have had insurance. Interesting, insurance is an important tool, but who has access to it really and truly is based on the depth of one's pocket and one's economic circumstance at the current moment, especially in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, where a lot slowed on so many people. Insurance is a good thing always, but who has the capacity to go out and get it? So there's an interesting discussion online as we speak on the whole issue of insurance. No doubt that discussion will continue on Tuesday, as we will inform you and elucidate you on how you can get paid if you are a property owner post a disaster, what it is you should be doing, and what you should be considering now if you were insured, how you can get paid post the loss that you suffered after the November 6th weather system. Minutes moving down now past 8 o'clock. The president of the Saint Lucia Diabetes and Hypertensive Association is already standing by. I'll join up with the president next for an interesting discussion here on the platform. But just before we go to our break, if you're just about leaving home, perhaps already making its way into Castries Harbour, we're expecting 2 cruise ships today. I'll share the details with you on the back end of this commercial break. Happy holidays. It's the 16th of November, and we're getting closer and closer to that season that we all love.
Always wanted a motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see courts have motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy, you know. I purchased 2 bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. This blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon, this is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.
Get your clothes sparkling clean with whiter whites and brighter colors. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. Ultra concentrated formula gives more washes with brightening factors added to keep your clothes looking new. And with the added organic fabric softener, your clothes will be soft and fluffy. Joby antibacterial washing powder is also effective in stain removal for cleaner, brighter, softer clothes with the sweet scent of early spring morning. Use Joby antibacterial washing powder. My family, my love, my Joby. Available at supermarkets island-wide. For orders, call 455-3076.
A young man from Bagatelle is dead. Calls on the public to not stigmatize his fatal accidents along the Bexon Highway leaves Tremendous Shannon welcomes the scrutiny of its CI. One man is in police custody following the shooting death of the wife of a police officer.
Look out for the Midday News with Daniela Edwin on Hot 7 TV.
Mourning a loss? Hot 7 TV wants to help you celebrate the beautiful memory of your loved one with In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Whether it's a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or some memorable occasion, or the anniversary of the passing of the dearly departed, Hot 7 TV will create a moving video tribute of that special person, showing how much he or she meant to you. Treasured memories, unforgettable moments. Share them with the world and repeat the airing as often as you'd like. Help keep your loved one's memory alive forever in the minds and hearts of all who care. In Loving Memory, celebrating lives. Contact us at telephone number 452-6040 or email us at inlovingmemory@caribbeanhottv.com.
Good morning, St. Lucia. Vibes at sunrise. An informative, enlightening, stimulating package. It can be taken as your morning cup of tea. Fortuna Anthony endorsing Vibes in the Morning.
Thank you for staying with us and welcome back to the program. My next guest is already on standby. I'll introduce him momentarily. But let's share down, and as soon as you can, just put up the graphic, the cruise graphic for me. We have 2 cruise ships expected in Port Castries today. We had 1 yesterday, both at Point Seraphim. We have 2 today. The Celebrity Millennium bringing hundreds of passengers today to Port Castries. They will be berthed at Point Seraphim, dock number 1, and the Star Pride will be on anchor at the Castries Harbor. So business is returning, taxi drivers. It's good news, and we always highlight the good news here on this platform. So 2 cruise ships in Port Castries. Streets are going to be bustling with activity. No doubt the police officers will be out as well in numbers, and taxi drivers looking to cash in, as well as the vendors. Good morning to the vendors down at the Vendors Arcade already, and those at the Castries Market. Good morning, and all the best today, Wednesday. We have one more tomorrow, and we have 3 on Friday, mind you. 3 of them on Friday, and more on Saturday. A good week for the cruise sector, and we look forward to that. My guest is all settled in, and then I could move to him now. Down, you can take it down. You can take down the graphic. Thanks for staying with us. The president of the Saint Lucia Diabetes and Hypertensive Association, Dr. Daw, is on the Flow WhatsApp line. Just give him just a few seconds. I think you are ready now, correct?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, Dr. Kendall Daw. I understand. Dr. Kendall Daw, and welcome to the platform.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Shannon.
It's our pleasure to host you here. 2 days ago, was it Monday, we celebrated International Diabetes Awareness Day, correct?
That is correct. Monday was official International Diabetes Awareness Day. This month of November is the Diabetes Awareness Month. Now, there's a theme established in 2021, which lasts for 3 years. Diabetes care, access to diabetes care, if not now, when? And each year there's a different slogan, and the slogan for this year is Education to Protect Tomorrow. So the board members of the Diabetes Association, on Monday we went out to our alma mater, primary school that is, and we decided to share a very brief, unique message to all of our primary school students, with the intention of, just like you teach them to brush and floss at that age, and they just spread that message. So very similar, we thought that we could have a great reach and an approach to diabetes education. So we tackled the primary school level, and of course charity beginning at home. We decided to go to our alma mater primary school. So I attended the Grocery Primary, and I was there on Monday morning. And also I decided to join the foot healthcare practitioner from the association at the Denny Primary School as well.
Excellent. Nice that you started at that tender age with the primary school, with the education drive. What was the feedback like from the youngsters? Very receptive, I'm suspecting. Dr. Daw is on with us? Dr. Daw, are you with us?
Yeah, sorry, you just cut off.
No problem. If you can hear me now, I was asking.
Could you repeat what you said?
I was asking what was the feedback like from the students at the various institutions.
Oh, it was wonderful. The children, they're always happy to meet someone who attended the school, and that basically gave them some hope as to what their future might be like. And that was part of the reason we decided to go to our alma mater. In addition, we kept the message simple. So our catchphrase to them was, to fight diabetes, you must change your life. Exercise regularly and eat properly. So we kept it simple, we kept it as catchy as possible, and the intention is a message that could go across all generations, all persons with diabetes, which is, it's a lifelong condition, and we really need to change our life if we want to make a dent in this pandemic of diabetes.
Yeah, nice. The slogan this year, education to protect the future, correct?
Yes, education to protect tomorrow.
To protect tomorrow. And in education, we mean sensitization, we mean ensuring that people have access to the information which will guide their response and their actions. Why is that sort of approach necessary for us to really start to stem this growing problem that we have? It's been around a while now. It's a big problem that we have with diabetes.
Yes, because diabetes, it is actually projected by 2030, 1 in 9 persons are going to be suffering from diabetes. So when you think of it this way, it is a condition we cannot afford to ignore. And of course, the start to dealing with any problem is to educate yourself. As a healthcare provider, I have also noticed a growing trend in our population that there's a lot of poor education or myths out there, rather, that persons tend to gravitate towards. You know, persons prefer to be lied to very often than to actually take on the truth. So what we're trying to do throughout this next year is ensure that we are in the forefront, providing all of our people with proper education to help them fight with diabetes. And of course, we start with understanding that it's, first of all, lifelong. You know, I like to explain it to persons as, think of it as a spouse, you know, and there's this contract that you signed till death do us part. Now, there's also the psychological part of it that I'm using this analogy for, because when you think of diabetes, you think, oh my gosh, my life is going to end. But understand your spouse and what is it they want from you. Diabetes wants for us to eat well, so generally a well-balanced meal, but preferably a meal that's going to give you low calories, not too much calories that's going to encourage you to put on too much weight, right? And secondly, that spouse wants you to exercise regularly. Now, there is a minimum, which is 5 consecutive days for 30 minutes each day. So if that spouse wants you to do those two things, I mean, think about it. Is he or she that bad? You know?
Yeah.
So
you have a good spouse.
I just want you to start to look at it differently. I mean, nobody wants to be someone that could potentially harm you.
You have a good
and
spouse.
The thing is, majority of us. Pardon me?
I say you have a good spouse, but I get where you're going with the with
yes. But the problem though is when you don't do what that spouse wants, the spouse try to get out of that contract, which says till death do us part. And guess who's gonna die?
Interesting way of bringing the message across.
Yeah. Well, the idea is to take care of that spouse. You know the saying, happy wife, happy life, happy spouse, happy life.
Yeah,
so take care of that spouse, they will behave themselves, and you could actually stand to live a very fulfilling life. A life that is almost normal like everyone else. So I want for persons to recognize and see that it is not necessarily a death sentence, but it is a call to action, a call to change your life around and live better.
And I'm happy that we're beginning that process that you spoke of education here on this platform this morning. It's a start, and as you say, it will continue in the months and the years to come. For many years, St. Lucians have been told that we have the highest rate of diabetes per capita globally. Is that still the case? Are we seeing a downward movement in diabetes here, or is it still on the up?
I would prefer to say that it's still on the up. I don't have the exact figures, and the reason I prefer to say that it's still on the up is, if you think about it, every single one of us, I'm sure including you, knows that there's one family member or friend who's living with diabetes. And that number continues to grow. You just hear persons dropping down, either they got a heart attack or they're losing their limb, they're losing a toe, and that is or they're losing their vision actually, and that is because of diabetes. So we need to do better. Until we've seen a case where we don't know or you don't know someone who's living with diabetes, it's most important to just understand that we need to do more.
Excellent. We definitely.
Whatever it is we're doing now, we need to do more and we need to do better.
Definitely. What are some of the more common side effects and effects of diabetes that you've seen registering within the various communities here? A lot of amputees coming about still?
Definitely. Food care, which is why the association does have a food care practitioner at the association office on Coral Street, and we offer screening of the feet and other services that our food care practitioner, Mrs. Claudine Mapre, does. In addition to that, blindness, the number one cause of preventable blindness is actually diabetes. And I believe a couple of years ago, the UK government or EU funded a project where we offered free screening to help detect diabetes associated retinopathy or damage to the eyes. But you mentioned side effects, and I can't help but continue to educate persons there. You know, I'm really passionate about this. And some of the symptoms you might have, and I want persons to pay attention to this, is first of all, you start to feel tired. You get a good night's rest, but you feel tired. You wake up and you just don't have as much energy. You also find yourself urinating very often. Yes? You find yourself eating more despite having an adequate meal, but you're still hungry. You also find yourself very thirsty. And lastly, you might feel a little numbness or tingling, needles and pins in your feet. These are some signs that should prompt you that, hey, you know, something is going on here. Maybe I should check my healthcare provider. Maybe I should figure out what's wrong, because most likely, very often, it just might be the onset of diabetes.
Absolutely. Thanks for pointing out some of those symptoms, if you may, that people can look out for. What are some of the contributing factors to this high rate of diabetes here?
Oh boy, I had an interesting conversation with a colleague not too long ago, and we wanted to conclude that it's stress, because sadly, if you think of it well enough, everything in this life affects your lifestyle. Everything you do. So I was listening to the show, and you spoke of the flood situation that happened not too long ago. Just think of the spiral effect thereafter. You've lost property, you've lost quite a few dollars, and that leads to depression. The depression further leads to you not eating well, you're not being able to exercise because you don't feel motivated to do so. And that is the lifestyle that we're most concerned about. We call it sedentary, which is sitting around quite a bit, not being too active, not paying attention to what you eat and how you eat. And that is one of the biggest risk factors to type 2 diabetes, which is the diabetes that is not insulin dependent, and which is the most prevalent one in our society today. There's type 1, I don't want to get too technical here, type 1 where you have to take insulin, or the need for insulin is a lot higher. But in type 2, it's primarily lifestyle, and the risk factors I would have to say is the life you live, how you live your life. So again, persons under extreme pressure, persons who don't have time to take care of themselves, you know, I plan to speak out a little more on a more balanced work-life experience. You know, a lot of us, we work hard to build something for ourselves at the cost of our health, and there needs to be a more balanced approach to achieving that.
It's interesting that you and your colleagues are identifying stress, and we see how it all goes back to stress and how the body responds to stressful situations. But it's interesting that you're able to pinpoint stress as perhaps the biggest contributing factor here to diabetes.
Yes, indeed, because we have persons who, and it's coping mechanisms that I'm referring to as well, because you have a lot of persons who decide, you know what, I had a rough day, let me go by the bar and have a drink. And that one drink leads to 2 drinks. Or I had a rough day, I'm going to have some ice cream. And that 1 scoop leads to 3 scoops. I had a rough day, you know what, I'm going to treat myself.
I'm working and I can't stop for a full meal, so let me grab a soda and something that's not the healthy option.
There you go. Yeah. So it really starts with us wanting to do better for ourselves, and the education is important. It's very important, because we don't realize the injustice we're doing to our bodies, the injustice we're doing to our future by actually making those choices. I mean, I myself, I do have a BHD, what I call a belly hanging down, I see you look quite slim and trim in your suit, and one day I will reach your level, but it is important that we make those right choices from early and ensure that we don't put ourselves at risk.
Yeah, the BHD for me almost sound like some academic qualifications, so it stands for thanks for clarifying that. Let's get a bit more technical, Dr. Daw. Type 1 and type 2. What's more prevalent here amongst our population, and which segment of the society is most at risk?
All right, so primarily type 1 is the one we call insulin dependent. So there's really, let me see how I could put this across without losing myself or anyone else. Diabetes is a metabolic condition that basically means your body's use of sugar is dysfunctional. All right. Now, sugar or glucose is very important to the body, because that's this fuel or energy that every cell in your body uses. Yes? So with diabetes, there's a problem in the use of that sugar. Now, there's an important hormone called insulin produced in your pancreas. That's an organ towards the mid part of your upper back. And that insulin's job is to help with all the cells in your body connect to the sugar, so that we can use it as energy. So if type 1 diabetes, there's a problem in either the production of that insulin or the quality of the insulin. So that's why those persons tend to need insulin to get by. And of course,
that's more of a natural condition as opposed to
yes, so I was just trying to think up on this one. Yeah. Excellent. So that's type 1 that mostly our young persons would have. So you'd end up seeing a child excessive vomiting, feeling weak, and they end up in the emergency room, and we notice, wow, the blood sugar is sky high, and that's most times how the diagnosis is made for a type 1 diabetics, which again is primarily our youth. But the most prevalent one, is type 2.
Just hold on before we go to type 2, Dr. Daw. Type 1, how does it come about most often?
That one is a bit of a tough question to answer, because the most common cause that we could think of is damage to your pancreas. And some theories state that it would happen in utero or during pregnancy, basically. That's the easiest answer I could give, but damage to the pancreas.
Thanks for that. And it affects the more youthful population. Type 2 is more common, though, you're saying?
Yes, so type 2 is the most common one. That's the one that most of our adults get, and it's basically it's more lifestyle dependent or lifestyle related. So that's the one where your body builds insulin resistance. So your insulin is actually good, but then your body is just not recognizing it or using it the way that it should. And that has a lot to do with fat or adipose, which is the BHD I spoke of, the belly hanging down. Alright, so we start to put on weight, and it's well understood that the fat tends to lend more support to the whole idea of insulin resistance, and again, your body is now not able to make use of the sugar. So I just want to add here that in both cases, if you think of putting a glass filled with some syrup or sugar water, if it stays there for a few days and you empty it, that glass has almost a coating on top of it, a stain, and that stain is very often hard to remove. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. So the very same thing happens in all of your blood vessels with the high blood sugar levels. It starts to damage the walls of your blood vessels, and that's where the problem starts. So we do need sugar. We do need sugar to get by, but we can't afford to have it so high in our blood for so long, because it starts to damage the blood vessels. Now, your blood vessels supply blood to every single part of your body, and it starts with the nerves, and that's where you get that numbness or tingling in your feet. So when the blood vessels now that attach to the nerves don't supply the nerves with the nutrients and the energy that it needs to survive, your nerves go bad. So the persons who walk around, they can't really feel their feet. I remember in my school days, assembly, you'd stand for a good half an hour. And what you notice is ever so often you'd rotate from your left foot to your right foot and back. Yeah? That's because the nerves under your feet are sending a signal to your brain to say, hey, we're dying down here, there's so much pressure, release some of that pressure. But with diabetes, you don't have that sensation. So you step on a nail, you step on a thumbtack, and that stays there for long, and you get those infections that lead to us losing our toes, losing the entire limb altogether. Hence the importance of always checking your feet as a diabetic. But again, I don't like to share the whole gloomy message that diabetes is all lost.
There is hope. There is hope. There is hope.
We can get through this if we first start with right education. There is diabetes, and truth is, to all of us who have a risk factor, meaning there's someone in your family with diabetes, I actually advise you to start living like you are diabetic. Because that's the best way to prevent yourself from getting diabetes.
I wanted to talk about perhaps how it can go down the family tree, especially when you look at type 1. But just work with me for a bit, Dr. Daw, and let's focus on type 2. So the excessive use of alcohol and the sodas, the sweets, help me understand, they are cancelling out, and we're talking type 2 here, they're cancelling out that insulin. They're cancelling out that insulin which needs to balance off the use of sugar within our body. Is that what it is?
No. So what happens, and I like that you use excessive use of sugar, because again, we do need sugar in our body. But the excessive use, it leads to extra storage, which is a BHD. Very high now. I like that phrase, right? The weight gain.
Extra storage of the sugar.
Yes, because your sugar, you take in extra sugar, your body, which is very efficient, tries to store that energy. And it is stored as fat. Now, the excessive fat causes your body to not recognize the insulin. And remember, the insulin is basically that sensor that helps each one of your cells use the sugar.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, doctor. The added sugar cancels out sort of the insulin, which balances off the usage of sugar within the body. Excellent. So I now have a better understanding.
Wait, if I'm rich you, then that means you can reach another person.
Excellent. So we're winning here with the education process. Type 1. You saying it relates a lot to damage to the pancreas or poor pancreatic development. Is there any research which points to it coming down the family line? If perhaps a family member had it, that you're more likely to have it?
Definitely, for both type 1 and type 2. If there is a family history, you can get it. Now, there's recent studies that actually show that if you're able to eliminate diabetes in 3 generations, then that 4th generation could actually say that I no longer have a family history of diabetes. And I think that is a very good goal for us to work towards, One of my board members said, Doc, you know what? I think our aim should be to eradicate diabetes from St. Lucia. Some persons might think it's an impossible task, But if we actually understand the way forward, which is try to get rid of it in at least 3 generations. So again, anyone in your family has it, pretend like you have it already and start living like you have it. That way you don't get it. You pass on that same message to your children and their children. So those great-grandchildren should have almost a free start or clean slate when it comes to diabetes.
Excellent. I like that we're separating the two, and let's just separate them for one more question. Type 1, it's critical for parents to ensure that the children go through the right surveillance in terms of the pancreatic checks and so forth and so on.
That one is a tough one for me to say pancreatic check, because it's not a routine check per se. But what is important is that you pay attention to your family history. So if there is diabetes in your family, then it's something you need to keep an eye out for. And of course, if you already are diagnosed, the importance is monitoring. But to say there is a way for us to determine who is going to get type 1 and who's not, the best way forward is in terms of your family history.
Family history. Thanks for that. And type 2, what is critical is for us to pay attention to our lifestyle habits.
Indeed, because outside of family history, if your lifestyle is one of those that favors diabetes, you will definitely get married to diabetes.
you keep making that reference to the spouse, man. I like it. It's having a good impact on the education to this important subject. So type 2 is where you require insulin.
Type 1 you require insulin for sure. Type 2, if it becomes that uncontrolled, you will eventually need insulin. You know, and since we're talking on medication, a lot of persons like to beat on side effects. Oh, the medication is causing these side effects. And I'd like to just say that, for example, I'm in a vehicle, right? God forbid if I do end up in a car crash, God forbid, or a little blunder, that is the side effect of driving, yes? The side effect of walking near a stream is getting wet. You know, I just want persons to see that way, that a side effect is the undesired effect of doing something or taking a medication. It doesn't mean we will get into an accident, it doesn't mean you must get wet, but you can, because you're doing this. And medications don't come out unless if they're determined to be safe enough. So majority of persons will not have received those side effects, but they do exist, you know, and I want persons to think about that if you're taking a medication and you do get a side effect, just go back to your healthcare provider and see how we could change it around for one that will better suit you without as many
because the side effects, if I listen to you, do not
side effects. Other day, let's not. It's a big deal that we decide not to take.
Yeah, because
we decide not to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, because if I listen to you, what you're trying to say, the side effects do not outweigh the benefits.
The benefit.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know, and I do have a few persons that I know who are living with diabetes without being on medication, especially type 2 diabetics. They've completely turned their life around. And what's also important is that they continue to monitor themselves. So you have persons who decide, you know what, doc, I'm going the natural way, and they completely forget about the monitoring aspect of things. And that's where I have a problem. If it works, it works. But please give me the evidence that it works. So if you decide that you're not going traditional, and although I'm a physician, I have to recognize what my society is doing and what we think. So if you decide to go natural and not take what has been proven to work, please monitor yourself. Please check and ensure that you're under control and that you're safe.
You keep preempting my questions, my good man. Like you know exactly where I'm headed or where I'm trying to lean you towards, and you keep protecting yourself on every tune.
But say Saint Lucia, but say Saint Lucia. If I don't know my people.
Dr. Doe is online with us. President of Saint Lucia Diabetic and Hypertension
I leave that out there. The most respectful way possible.
We're talking about diabetes, which is a major problem here. Let's talk a bit about insulin. What's the insulin treatment like for a patient?
What do you mean, what's it like? So in terms of the experience, you have to prick yourself.
The frequency of it as well, and how challenging is it here? Is it always readily available, or is it a big challenge for our patients?
Okay, so in terms of insulin, currently the government has universal health coverage that includes diabetes medication. Excellent. So majority of our population should be able to access the diabetic medication for free from the health center pharmacies. All right, so it should not be an issue. Now, where I have an issue is I know a person who they take the medication, they just leave it on the shelf. Yeah. They don't actually use it. So that basically does lead to shortages for those who really need it. If you know you're not going to take it, please don't go and collect it. Yeah. But in addition to the access, depends on your level of diabetes or how severe it is really. Your healthcare provider will determine with you, of course, how many times you have to take the medication, how much medication you have to take. Of course, it's again related to your lifestyle. So based on what you eat, we have to titrate the amount of insulin you'll need based on
Dr. Doss should be reconnected with us any moment now. He is the president.
You'll need. I think
you're back on now.
Yes, we're back.
Yes.
Yes. So I think one of the most daunting factors or parts of the medication for persons is the fact that you have to literally prick yourself every day. You know, and our type 1 diabetics, they can't really get away from that. It's not something they can avoid. But the type 2, at least, you know, don't allow the diabetes to get worse. Do your best. Educate yourself and prevent that from happening. Now there is technology that exists, like a pump, you know, those nice devices that can attach to either your belly or your arm that easily administers those medications without you having to prick yourself. And I was at a conference in 2019 was it, and I remember speaking to one or two of those companies. I said, hey, so would you be interested in bringing this to the Caribbean region? They said, sure, no problem, we could bring it, but it costs at least $1,000 for 2 weeks supply, and that's $1,000 US. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money.
For 2 weeks
and supply. He said, yes, and they said, well, that's why insurances cover it in those bigger countries. And I heard what you said earlier about insurances, and I'm happy you're having a discussion later down, because I think our insurance companies can do a lot better. Let's not pay out claims for complications. And how about having that discussion or that conversation on prevention? We could start to cover a lot more, like diabetic shoes, for instance. Cover those insulin pumps if that's going to make a difference. Cover those things that will prevent persons from getting worse. And cover it in a way that is actually sustainable.
Yeah, as opposed to waiting for that client of yours as an insurance broker to fall ill and then for you to have to make a payout. Interesting.
Exactly.
Interesting perspective. That is why I'm really liking the trend that this discussion is taking.
We can't get away from diabetes. Projection has it that by 2030, 1 in 9 persons are going to be suffering from diabetes. So that means if the insurance companies are thinking of having a relatively healthy pool to sustain themselves, not too long from now, that will no longer exist. So let's get ahead of the game, include that pool of diabetics. Let's put some measures in place where if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, your premium goes up. But if you're maintaining it well, your premium stays down or it goes lower. But we need to have that conversation to include persons rather than try to deter them or give them such a hefty premium that they're discouraged altogether from having the insurance.
Excellent.
You know,
Excellent sales.
There's so much to talk about, you know, and even crime, you know, I'm sorry, you give me the opportunity, I'm going to take it. Even crime these days, you know, I would like our young men out there who are engaging in crime especially to recognize that, hey, your mom, your dad, you know, your grandparents, they're suffering with diabetes and they need to be able to walk the streets. They need to be able to get out and exercise. But if all this shooting, if all of this going on, they don't feel safe to do it. And they will get worse. So please, every single thing you can think of, crime affects diabetes. Social statuses affect diabetes. Finances affect diabetes. All of that, they're well related. And we need to stop looking at things in silos.
I have two more on medication. Doc, insulin, the only available or the preferred option for treatment?
Well, actually, you'd hear a lot about my friend metformin. And of course, a lot of persons are beating on metformin, but it is the first line that we use in diabetes, metformin. And just like the vaccine for COVID, there is a lot of statements or controversy out there. And I don't wish to go into it too much, but it still remains the first line for diabetes management. And of course, with time, we're developing more and more medication. But you'll hear most commonly in our society insulin, metformin, and insulin-like medications such as glycoside or UNTILL, glibenclamide, you know, those medication, and more recent ones, sitagliptin. But most of our diabetics will be familiar with metformin, and that medication, basically the way it works is it tries to increase your metabolism, or it tries to help you increase on how you utilize that sugar. So it's important, and I've told most of my patients that if you're on metformin, you can't afford to not change your life, because that's when you'll likely start to feel like the medication is not going so well with you. So if the medication is trying to encourage you to get up and move and exercise, and you're just sitting there, you're going to feel the lashes. So get up, move and exercise, and it will work well with you.
Thanks for that. Now, Doc, I'm never one to encourage a man or woman to sing against his or her supper, but bear with me for a minute. Natural remedies. Is there evidence? Have you seen research? Have you seen cases of there being benefit in using natural remedies to help address diabetes?
Lovely question, Shannon. Yes, so let me answer that question. I would like to use Panadol, for example, as an example to answer this question. A lot of us know the Panadol leaf, the Panadol leaf, the Panadol plant. And it is well documented that more than 6 grams of Panadol in a day for an adult is going to have an increased risk of damage to your liver. Yes? And I have an issue when my people decide to go and take 2-3 leaves of Panadol and drink it in tea. My question to you is, how many grams of Panadol is in that tea? Do you know? Of course, with this statement, my herbalists will say that, hey, they know what they're doing and they're measuring. I have to ask, is that any different from what we're doing? But anyway, I will allow them to bring the evidence to support that their treatments are working, because that's not my field. So if there is evidence that the treatment works, I would want for them to bring it out. You know, just as clear as they bring it out and show that I have success, I'm able to bring down someone's HbA1c, which is the gold standard to determine the control of diabetes. So an HbA1c of 7.4% or less suggests that your diabetes is under control. So I'll allow them to bring out that evidence. But I just want to drop that point out there. In addition to that, I wanted to say something. Oh my gosh, I've lost it, huh?
Perhaps
that question is a really nice one. Perhaps I want to be careful about answering.
You were spending a relatively good amount of time painting that bright and brilliant picture, Dr. Daw. I like your argument with the usage of Panadol versus natural medicine. That's why I was so guarded with the question. Have you seen, or have you been presented with any cases where your patients perhaps refer to the traditional medicines and natural medicines, and you see improvements?
Thank you for bringing me back to the thought I had. I honestly believe that there is a role for what we call natural
treatment, natural medication. Dr. Daw will come back on shortly. Do apologize for the very intriguing and interesting discussion this morning on diabetes. It's been around with us for a while. It remains a national problem. You're back, Dr. Daw?
Yes, I'm back now. Yes, and that's what the message I started off with. Eat properly, because it is well understood that we are a product of what we eat. So if I were to say that herbs or medication has no role, I think I would be lying. All right, but for me, and this is my personal view, please do not attach it with my medical colleagues.
Yeah.
Or anyway, this is my personal view, that herbs or food's role is in prevention. So if you eat well, you eat properly, it's going to help prevent. But as long as you have the diagnosis, treatment is difficult to achieve with that same measure. Now, to answer your question directly, yes, I have seen 1 or 2 patients who come in and the HbA1c has dropped significantly. It's normal, and that's amazing. You know, I say, well, if it's working for you, then great, carry on. However, I've also noticed that very often those same patients, within a year or 2, end up on dialysis or end up with some other complication, which takes me back to my Panadol, Shannon.
Perhaps there is need for more research in these natural remedies.
There you go. Because if I give you over 6 grams of Panadol, it will knock out that pain. It will knock out that pain that you have in other fever. But more than 6 grams, will also start to damage your liver. So the very same way, in those herbs that we're abusing, it will help to bring that down if it has a similar drug like the metformin, it has a similar drug like the insulin in it. Because truth be told, majority of our medication comes from plants. It came from the earth, okay? So if it does have a similar drug like our diabetic medication in it, it will definitely bring that sugar down. But at what cost, Shannon? At what cost? That's what we need to understand.
And I understand that with you. I know you're a doctor and you're a proponent of medication. One more for me on that. Let me get your perspective. Perhaps there's need, similar to how we have spent years and millions in research of medication, perhaps there's need for us to spend some time at a regional level, UE level, I'm thinking perhaps, in researching the natural remedies. Any value there?
Yes, definitely, Shannon, because again, the Panadol plant, it has Panadol in it. For example, turmeric, it has NSAIDs in it. It has non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs in it. So it's similar to your aspirin and your ibuprofen. That's what's in turmeric. So at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're exchanging a pill for a leaf that has basically the same active ingredient. The only
Dr. Daw, the president of we seem to have even some connectivity issues in the midst of this very intriguing and important discussion. I hope he can come back on so we can conclude what has been a fascinating discourse thus far. Your new course to discourse is right here. Dr. Daw, you're back.
Yeah, so I was just saying that the risk there is we haven't done enough research, and I think there's an economic benefit to it. Because if we could actually go to our shadow benny, and figure out what is in it that could actually help our people, let's grow those plants and let's extract it and develop a new medication that could help our people. We now go into manufacturing and we could sell the same drug to benefit the world, you know? So I actually want to end this with a challenge, that topic, with a challenge to those herbalists. Fine-tune your craft. Get the evidence, get the data, and bring it out to help.
It's beyond the herbalist, but I hear you loud and clear. It has to do with our regional institutions. The University of the West Indies, I think, is well placed. The OECS pharmaceutical arm, they may also have a stake here, and regional governments as well, with like-minded professionals like yourself in the medical field to balance off the research and to balance off the argument. I think everyone has a role to play, there. Dr. Daw, there's so much more that we can discuss. This has been really fascinating. I want to thank you for keeping me engaged. I want to give you a last opportunity to share a final message with St. Lucians on this topic of diabetes and how we can begin to see some downward movement in our numbers and a change in our habits.
All right, man. There's so much I can say. May put two set this year, okay? Mwevlo kopo on your buy. Diabetes ila put tout lavio. So depune oni pou faire by la kikai wedeo, okay? Oni pou manger bien, et oni pou faire exercise ou 5 jours. Y'en a fait lot pour 30 minutes, okay? So again, our diabetic family out there, I want you to understand that diabetes is a lifelong condition. You can have it under control, but as long as you go back into your bad habits, it will come back and bite you. So please let us do what we need to do, which is live a better life, understand diabetes, understand what it is we need to do to get it under control. And right here on my shirt, I have this circle, the blue circle, the pin. Much like the cancer ribbon, that is a symbol for diabetes. It's a blue circle, and not many of us are aware of this. Why blue? Because it's a sky that the entire world shares. And why a circle is because we're all united by this one condition. Sadly, we're united by something called diabetes. It does not care what race you come from, what geographic location you're in. We all are at risk of this condition.
Should come back on just to wrap up his presentation just about 5.5 minutes before we end on top of the hour of 9 o'clock. I'm going to bring Dr. Daw back because I always say from the onset, if you look at the topic, it may come out to you as not the sexiest of topics, especially if you're in media and journalism, but it's how you approach the discourse, and look how we've made diabetes so palatable and so sexy. This morning we can have another hour and a half of diabetes discussion. You were wrapping up for us, Dr. Daw.
Yes. So again, educate yourself with the right education. The Ministry of Health in Saint Lucia, the Bureau of Health Department. There's a website that I really like, diabetesuk.org. They've done quite a bit of work in organizing food plans and exercise plans and education material.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we may
get the right education and get it in your head. What you need to do today to protect yourself tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll talk again.
And of course, I'd like to thank everyone that's been supporting the association, our corporate partners. I'd just like to say out here that we really appreciate your support, and we look forward to getting the message out there. One of our biggest supporters has always been Marcy, and we want to say thank you as well for supporting, and we look forward to adding more support as time goes by, and we will do our best to educate, to protect tomorrow.
Thanks for keeping us engaged. We'll talk again very soon. I thoroughly enjoyed the discourse, and there's lots more that we have to continue to talk about.
Yes, definitely.
Dr. Daw, the president of the Saint Lucia.
And I'm talking about, I can show you how it's linked to. If you want to I can see how it's linked to diabetes and hypertension. Any topic.
No problem. I wish you all the very best in your efforts, especially with that BDH. I look forward the next time when we talk that you should have it under control.
Yes, that BHD. I have plans for it, don't worry.
That BHD. Belly hanging down. President of the Saint Lucia Diabetic and Hypertension Association, my very special guest this hour on the program. Good morning, Saint Lucia Vibes at Sunrise. Like I said before he came back on, any topic, especially one like this, you can make it sexy. It's your approach to the discourse. Diabetes, similar to climate change, is as sexy as politics. It's your appreciation and how you apply your questioning and your approach to the topic at hand. I want to thank Dr. Daw for coming on. This is how we approach things here. It's a new course to discourse. Good morning, St. Lucia, a vibe at sunrise. Now into our 5th month, we're celebrating Christmas, and we will have lots more on our Christmas programming tomorrow and next week as well. It's going to be a big discussion on developments over in Dominica tomorrow. The opposition leader, Lennox Linton, will be my very special guest. The man who looks like the next heading into the seat of leadership of the party will also join Mr. Linton. I have 3 very special guests and a political observer over in Dominica as well. It's an interesting discourse. Friday we're going to end with a former magistrate, T. Nigel Tussell. Lots happening here on the platform as we wind down what has been a very busy 2022. Still some weeks left. We have 2 cruise ships in port, mind you, if you haven't heard. 2 cruise ships in port today, and we've just sadly registered homicide number 61 in Viewfort. Join the news team, Daniela Edwin. She will be here at noon and again at 6:45, 6:45 of the Hot 7 Nightly News. The entire news team will be joining her with their reports. You want to stay in the know right here on Hot 7 TV. I'll be back, God willing, tomorrow 6 o'clock when Jason will rise again. Until then, happy holidays.